Astrophotography can be magical, capturing the cosmos in all its glory. But for beginners, the learning curve can be steep. But don't worry, today we're gonna see the 10 most common mistakes that beginners make. Skipping proper polar alignment. Without accurate alignment, your tracking mount can't follow the stars precisely. So spend more time to do an accurate polar alignment, and don't be scared to stop the session and correct the polar alignment if you see that something doesn't go well or you have star trails or everything like that. Light pollution reduce contrast and hide faint celestial details. You have two solutions for this problem. The first one is to travel outside of the city to find dark skies and you set your equipment over there. Or the second one, if you have a backyard and doing astrophotography from your house, just buy a narrowband filter or a CLS filter to cut the emission lines that the artificial light produced from the street lamps and all of this light pollution. The third one is to don't underestimate the importance of calibration frames. You don't have to skip the calibration frames. Flat, dark and bias frames are essential for cleaning up your stacked image from the noise from any sensor's dust or any weird gradients to the image. Calibration frames helps with all of this, and it's really easy to capture them and combine them to the stacked image. The fourth mistake that a lot of us did when we start the astrophotography journey is that we didn't spend a lot of hours to capture the night sky. We just took about 1 or 2 hours and go home, and after that we didn't see any detail, any faint targets or any dust around of any target. So the solution for that is to spend more hours, 5, 6 or 8 or 10 hours, as more as better. Another problem you may face in the astrophotography journey as a beginner is the overexposing stars. When you're using a lot of seconds for every single sub, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and if you're using a DSLR especially, because it's not dedicated for astrophotography, the star's gonna blow out and overcoming of the faint targets, of the faint dust around, and you will lose the color and the detail of the nebula or the galaxy you're shooting. So you have to adjust the ISO and the exposure time, combine them in the right way to don't have overexposing stars. It's better to have less exposure time and a more balanced image. Another mistake a lot of beginners do is something that I did a lot of times when I started the astrophotography. I was ignoring the weather or the dew control. I didn't see the weather, I didn't see the humidity in the atmosphere, I didn't see the wind speed, I didn't see nothing. I just took my equipment, I see, oh, it's a clear night, let's go out. And maybe after 1 or 2 hours, the clouds came and my session are ruined up. So if you want to worthily spend your time in astrophotography, you have to plan your sessions by the weather conditions and to have the more night dark sky hours without moon, without cloud, without the moisture and the humidity in the atmosphere, and you need better conditions to have the better raw images to convert it to the final image. Focusing in astrophotography, it's a little bit different than focusing in daylight when you're capturing people with your DSLR or anything else. So, when you are outside on the astrofield and you're capturing the stars, the galaxies or the nebulae, you have to have sharp stars. And to do it manually, to be honest, is a little bit hard and it needs experience. So the easier solution of this problem is a button of mask. Put it in your telescope and you see the stars when they are on focus, when close, when they are out of focus. So it's pretty easy. Another common mistake is that using an unbalanced mount. Using an unbalanced mount can stress the motor, leading the tracking errors to more and more, and your whole quality of your Astro session is downgraded. Take the time to properly balance your mount before you start the session. It's crucial. A lot of beginner astrophotographers skipping the processing basics. That means that they don't using the worth data that they have and just don't bring the best result that they can. Processing is very important. Is the half of your Astro session. The first half of your session is that when you are outside of the field and when you go back to your computer and see what you got. When it starts the other half, the second half of the Astro session, and is the processing of the Astro image, how to see, how to understand your data, how to understand the details that you have and how to reveal them. So don't skip the processing. And the last mistake that a lot of astrophotographers do when they start is not technical, it's about the mindset. You don't have to compare your images to another astrophotographers. You just want to see the other one artwork, the final images, just to inspire and see how they managed their data and how they managed to have their final images and how they capturing, how they processing. The only one you have to compare your artwork is yourself in your past. When you're capturing a night target, you have to see your previous one and you see that the now is better than the previous. If you can't see any upscale when you're capturing the night sky after days, after months or years, maybe something goes wrong. Every session, it has to be better than the previous, not better than the others. I think we cover a lot of the problems that you will face when you're starting the astrophotography. Avoiding these mistakes will set you on the right path to creating stunning astrophotography images. But remember, learning from experience is part of the journey. If you found this helpful, leave a comment and share your most common astrophotography struggles. And don't forget to subscribe for more tips and tutorials. Clear skies, people!